Welcome to Oh Brother News. I'm Gabe,
I am James.
and we are brothers. And this is the
And
news.
maybe some conspiracy theories.
Yeah, maybe some conspiracy theories
Yeah.
today. Yeah, so we were talking in the pre-show, and it was sounding pretty episode-y. So we're just gonna jump in. We have a lot of topics. I'll go over the big bullet points, and we'll just get into it somewhere. Okay, so we've got Klobuchar, her comments during the Kash Patel hearing. I have some thoughts on that. We have this news: Trump's going to build a Trump Tower in Gaza. Uh, Hard talk from the river to the sea. Palestine will cease to be, etc. We have expect the worst from the government. A rant. That'll be a fun one. I don't know if we did the homework on this, but maybe we'll try to get into it on the fly. U.S. aid and what they really do that matters. The flooding and overwhelm strategy. Where are the angry Democrats, which will be another rant. Got a couple people to call out there. We'll probably segue from that into the new DNC chair, Ken Martin. Talk about Elon and Doge and the Department of the Treasury's payment system with the kids who are definitely not all right. Yeah, I don't know. That's just like some of the shit that happened this week. So this is we'll start with this and see where it goes. What do you want to jump into first, buddy?
Well, there's a lot of things that Gabe here want to talk about beforehand. The only thing I want to talk about is Elon Musk and how they're doing the coup against our country, and people aren't talking about that nearly enough, even if that is some of the bigger stories. So we should probably save that for last because otherwise, it won't be time for anything else.
No, do it first. Do it first. Whatever. There's always next. There's always next week. This is the one. This is the one you want.
Oh man, so yeah, Elon Musk, man. Now, first of all, everybody should know that Elon Musk is obviously not doing this on his own, right? He is Trump's bitch right now, and he's doing the dirty work for Donald Trump. So while Donald Trump is screaming crazy shit everywhere, talk about taking over Palestine and Gaza, whatever, and tariffs on again, off again, on again, off again, all this other news stories, it still is not being talked about enough about what Elon Musk and his former employees, his interns, his people from his various, companies, you know, what he's having them do, and why I think that is such a bigger deal than anything else that's going on.
Do you think that like he's using Elon Musk in the same way that like JD Vance would come out and be like, "Oh, we're not going to release the violent ones," and then, when Republicans are pissed about it, then he's like, "Okay, well, I know what the people want. Like they didn't like that one, so now I'll let them all out and let the Silk Road guy out too. Fuck it." Like you think it's like that sort of thing. It's like if
I think
somebody comes out and like takes a position just so they can get beat up to like tell him which way the people want him to decide, and then he like does the popular thing.
Oh no, I think it's more like, all right, Elon, you're basically, you're going to be, you are the attack dog. You're going to be the guy. You're going to be the enforcer. You're my enforcer. I'm the mob boss. You're my top enforcer or whatever. And Elon Musk is going to go do it. And since Elon Musk is Elon Musk, he makes news. So when any of the stuff comes out about it, he's also the fall guy, right? He's also, Elon Musk and his team, Doge, when it is, by the way, Doge is bullshit. Doge is not a real thing.
It's the
Anyway,
Department of Government Efficiency,
yes,
and it is a meme coin
yes,
based on the lovely Shiba Inu dog. It's very
yeah,
real. It's very
okay.
real.
Anyway, but yeah, he sent when Elon Musk gets all the bad attention when, oops, we accidentally shut down a bunch of stuff that people care about. Okay, oops, Elon Musk, it was just a snafu. He gets the hit. For some reason, it's still not hitting Donald Trump. If shit ever got really bad and Donald Trump's numbers plummeted because people were blaming Donald Trump for the shit that Elon is doing, he could just cut Elon loose, right? Whatever. He was doing this. I mean, he did the
You
same shit
can't cut Elon loose, man. Elon Musk bought his fake
publicly.
immigrant presidency and paid for it.
Elon Musk is taking, I mean, here, Elon Musk, if anybody doesn't know, if you've been living under a rock, right? or you're just not paying attention.
Sells flamethrowers.
What?
Is that the
Self?
end of your? Yeah, Elon Musk sells flamethrowers. That's
No,
the
no. Anyway, I don't know.
started the Boring Company.
I didn't get the joke, but whatever.
Names his cars so that their model numbers would spell out the word sexy with an E, a three instead of an E for gamer speak, but
Okay, well, say his kid's name.
xylophone.
Okay, wait. Anyway,
That's
no.
how
So
I say it, you know?
yeah, so Elon Musk, he's sitting his team. Trump is letting him go in there. Trump says, you know how Trump will, quote, declassify something by thinking about it. Well, he's kind of, I guess, letting them, Elon Musk and his 18 to 24-year-old
That's
kids,
how Neuralink works.
go into places where they have no security clearances, they have no security at all to get to these things, and just saying, "Oh, I imagined that you have security clearance, so just go in there, and if people get in your way, I'll make sure they're fired."
Do
Right?
you need a security clearance?
Yes, absolutely.
What
And
according to what?
according to the General Services Administration, according to a bunch of things. I mean, yes, and they definitely don't have the security credentials. First of all, they didn't even have the security credentials to get access to it. They were being held up there, and they definitely don't have the security credentials to be doing what they're doing, which is installing AI software on their computers to
What
spy
are
on.
they doing?
Huh?
What are they? How do we know what they're doing? Have they told
Well,
us?
they told Wired. It got leaked to Wired, like Wired magazine, that they were deploying suites of AI software on their computers in the General Services Administration, right? That's the agency that manages all federal offices and technology, right? And they were installing AI software on there to spy on people, to look through their emails, comb through their systems, look for their chat histories, look for anything on them that said anything bad about Donald Trump or the administration or anything they deemed to be disloyal,
Okay,
right?
but counterpoint, like a lot of jobs put on like, you know,
Yes, but these aren't employees.
software to make sure that you're. Isn't this the employees? The employees' computers? No.
Yes, they're installing it. Yes,
So they're
like,
so they're putting digital monitoring software. I'm just playing. I'm just gonna play devil's advocate. You
okay,
gotta like sell me on this.
yes, devil's advocate. It'd be like you walking into Apple, demanding your way in the door, and then pushing people out of the way and installing it on their computers. Yes, it's like that. Yes, you walked into Apple and you started putting stuff on everybody's computers at Apple.
I mean, are these government computers? I don't feel like the government's like letting
No.
people bring their own computers to work.
Anyway, so they're putting spyware and stuff on the people's computers to do that. They're going in there and just shutting down payments to agencies, turning stuff off. When oops,
What agencies did they shut payments off to?
hmm?
What agencies did they shut
Oh
payments off to?
God, man! Why don't you ever talk to me about this shit before we start recording, so I can actually have it ready to go exactly?
I gave you the list, and I
By the way,
told
people,
you
I
to
don't
look at it on Tuesday.
have federal funds because like JB Pritzker had a really good thing about it too when he was calling them out for them lying to us. Uh, Blocked before they're turned back on. Here we go. Well, they did block it. Luckily, the courts did. Let's see if it does it. All right. Let's see here.
Yeah,
What were
like
the first
they
things?
did the funding freeze for like all the different government agencies, and then the
Mm-hmm.
court blocked it before even most of it even went into effect. So like
Yeah.
most of that stuff didn't even happen.
A lot of it did happen, and then they blamed it on website outages.
Oh, I didn't hear about that, so I don't know about that.
Yeah, JB Pritzker did a really good thing where he had a whole big press conference about the administration is lying to you. They are trying to blame it on website outages. They blocked this. They blocked this. They blocked this. He actually laid out a bunch of things. He blocked Meals on Wheels funding got blocked. Some other fundings got blocked. There's other state things. Oh, where was it? Where was it? God damn it! We're already recording.
Take
Uh,
your time, bro. It's all right.
yeah, no.
You can
Yeah, but
find
you
it.
don't want dead air while I just sit there and start googling shit.
Here, you look for a minute. I'll rant. I'll go over some of the stuff that I read up about Elon. So,
Yeah.
okay. So um, I heard the initial stuff, right? It was like, Elon's getting into the payment systems at the Treasury, and who knows what he's going to do. It's probably going to be something bad because, cartoon villain Elon. And then it was like, and he's working with these kids, who knows? Like, are they stupid? All we know is that they're young. So, like, let's just talk shit about them. Like, these incompetent children and their lack of experience and security and Oh, it all sounds really bad, but it's like super fucking nebulous. And I watched this video
There you go.
of
There you go.
Asmongold, so like asterisk, but like he apparently looked up one of the guys, and one of these kids uh, was at least very intelligent. He was like going to school in some, I don't know, middle of the country, like Oklahoma or Kansas, something like that, and he caught wind of this like tablets project from, I don't know exactly what it was from. It was from like uh, some like old volcano. Like the volcano made a big fire and destroyed a bunch of old civilization a long time ago. And they had these tablets that like probably had some writing, but they couldn't decipher anything because they were all burned beyond recognition. This kid hears about this and he like gets really fascinated and like wants to try to find words and like spins up this like AI image examination software, and he starts spending all of his free time searching for words, and he eventually finds a word, and it's like the word for purple, which is significant because like purple was like the last color that cultures would discover because it was it was hard to get purple, so it kind of
You kid smart.
tells you,
Yeah.
like, if you're going to find one word, it tells you a lot. So the point of this is like at least one of these kids is really smart. And then he was
Mhm.
also making the point like, oh, there were this founding father and this other founding father. Like, I don't remember the exact names of the people, but he was like, this dude was 23 when he did this thing. This dude was, and then I was talking to James about it the other day, and he was like, I
So
was like,
what?
I thought it was like James Madison, or I can't
Yeah.
remember which dude I said.
Right.
We looked it up, and it was like, he wasn't 23, he was 36. But the point was this: like the fact that they're young doesn't disqualify them. The fact that we
Yes.
don't know what they're doing doesn't mean that they're doing something bad. Now, if they are doing something bad, I want to know about it and I want to be upset about it. But I don't want to be pre-upset about the thing that I don't know that they're doing. I don't want to prejudge them as incompetent when I don't know
All right.
what they're doing. You ready?
Yeah.
Is that enough rambling? Okay, go
Yes.
for it.
Because I think Pritzker said it even best here, right?
Okay.
Like he said, Donald Trump and his administration have not earned the benefit of the doubt. He said they're either lying to us or they're critically incompetent. And here are some of the things they shut off. And it went across all 50 states, right? The low income home energy assistance program, unemployment support, Meals on Wheels, right? All of these things were cut off. The White House, when they put out that memo at 7:42 that he's freezing it, which, by the way, is unconstitutional, because Congress appropriates money, not the president,
But the
not the
president
executive
spends
branch.
it.
No, Congress spends it. They distribute it. They just make
Congress
sure.
says you have this much money for
Yes,
this thing, and then the
yes,
executive
and the
branch
executive has
spends
no
the money.
authority whatsoever, and this has been decided over and over and over by the Supreme Court.
Has it
The
though?
executive branch, yes, it has. Way back, even with Nixon, went before that, Nixon, Reagan. I mean, God, this has come up so many times, it's not even funny. Yes, the executive branch cannot overrule the legislative branch as far as spending. That is the core in the Constitution, not an amendment. The core thing about the legislative branch is they have the power of the purse. You know, the executive branch cannot say, well, Congress said we have to spend this money, but we're not going to. No, that's different branches,
What about
Congress.
what about impoundment? The process in which the president withholds or delays spending on programs authorized by Congress is called impoundment. This practice dates back to the third president, Thomas Jefferson, and it has at times been controversial because the impoundment of funds can put the executive and legislative branches in conflicts. The
Okay.
Constitution's Article 1, Section 9 grants Congress the power of the purse to approve spending in the federal budget in the Appropriations Clause, which reads in part, no money shall be drawn from the Treasury, but in consequence of appropriations made by law. The Constitution then delegates to the President the task of spending approved funds in the Take Care
Mm-hmm.
Clause, which requires the chief executive, quote, shall take care that the laws be faithfully executed, end quote.
Mm-hmm. And then the Impoundment Control Act of 1974 was passed, right? Because Nixon was abusing his authority, right? And
Hmm.
and they said, yeah, the president cannot do that. Presidents don't like it, and Reagan, George H.W. Bush, Clinton, Bush, Obama, and Trump all disagree with that. They all want to be able to do it, right? They even made a line item veto. Remember the line item veto? They talked about that in 96. That gives the president a line item veto. So if you have a whole bill, but there's some clause in it that says, but we want to spend X amount on whatever, the president would be able to do a line item. Say, you know what? I'm going to scratch this one line out and send it back to you. This one item is all I'm going to take out of it.
Bro,
And
I remember everything that happened in politics when I was 11. Come at me, bro.
I was older. So anyway, that got struck down by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said, no, you can't do that. President
Can't do
can't.
line item.
You can't even do a line item because Congress disposes the money. You don't. You
Okay,
can't
but
do anything. You can't stop the money they spend.
so I'm reading from constitutioncenter.org, which is a link. I'm going to put it, hold on, I'm going to put it in Notion in case you just want to follow along because it's giving me the same history hilariously. But yeah, it's going to be at the bottom of the document and it's there now.
Impoundment Control Act. They
Yeah,
can't do it.
so the Impoundment Control Act, so what does it say here? And it requires Title X in the act, commonly referred to as the Impoundment Control Act or ICA, and it requires the president to report to Congress when he impounds funds as a deferment or a temporary delay or a rescission, a permanent cancellation of spending. Under the ICA, spending deferrals must not extend beyond the current fiscal year, and Congress can override deferrals using an expedited process. For rescissions, the president must propose such actions to Congress for approval, and he can delay spending related to rescission for 45 days. Unless Congress approves the rescission request, the funds must be released for spending. So he can pause it for up to 45 days. He just has to tell Congress that he's doing it,
And
and
here's the thing,
then
though. So
and then
here's the
try
thing.
to get them to approve it.
So when you lock, and there's another thing that Elon and the team are doing. They are locking everybody out and telling them they're fired and they can't come into work. And they're blocking their computer access. So here's the thing. Until they are stopped, let's say 45 days goes by,
Mm-hmm.
and the entire department that would do job X, right, dispense this money to whatever. That entire department is gone. There is nobody to do the work. On paper, you can say, well, yep, we've delayed it for 45 days. All right, I guess we can't block it anymore. But there's no people to do the job.
I
How
mean,
does
bro,
it get
this is the
dispensed?
same. This is the same government that votes on whether or not to take out a giant loan. Always decides to take out the huge loan, then votes on whether or not to pay it back, and then has like a hissy fit back and forth. Oh, we're gonna shut the government
They
down.
only
Will
do
they?
that when
Won't
Democrats.
they?
They only do that
And
when
then
Democrats are in charge.
and then we vote just enough money to keep it running for like 3 or 4 months, and then we rerun the same episode of the same shitty TV
That
show
that only
again.
that only happens when Democrats have the White House. It's true. It only happens when Democrats have the White House. When do you remember the fear of a government shutdown during the first Trump administration when they actually exploded the debt on a just outrageous, unprecedented scale more than anybody else had ever been able to do?
Are
They
you
never
referring
did.
to the 8 trillion, the
Yeah.
30% of the national debt that Trump was
Yes.
responsible for in his first
Yes.
term?
And when did the Republicans threaten to shut the government down and unless that spending was cut?
But I thought
Never.
they're the party of fiscal responsibility.
No.
Do they mean like they're fiscally responsible to like
No.
the
They're the
banks? Like they're like, we're definitely going to take out a loan so these banks can get paid. We wouldn't want the bankers to not get paid. That's how else would we be responsible? Like that kind of fiscal responsibility.
They have no such thing as fiscal responsibility. Yeah. Yeah. But
but they do though. Like they take money from the poor. They're like, oh, you want Medicaid? Like, oh, you've been paying your whole life into Social Security. Guess what? Fuck you. Like rich people got to buy another boat.
yeah. You're still acting like
That's
you're still
very
acting like
responsible.
but you're still acting like voting matters now in the House because right now, and that's another thing that everybody's talking about. I mean, a lot of people have been talking about. There is no what's her name? What's her name? Jesus Christ, Sarah Longwell, right? Sarah Longwell, Republican folks group. She does a lot of stuff like that, right? Political strategist. She put it best. The entire founding of our country works, on the premise of three legs, right? You got the executive branch, you got the co-equal branches, you got the legislative branch, you got the courts, right? And it
Got the
only
fourth
works.
branch.
Yeah, we don't have that.
The
First of all, right?
media.
Yeah.
The
So
media.
forget that right now. Let's go basics, okay? Let's pretend there is no media, right? The
All
real
right.
three branches, and it's
Three
built
branches.
on ambition counteracts ambition, right? And the executive will never be able to get total authority because the people who run the house, who control the purse, aren't going to let them because they have ambition. They want to rule their house, right? They control the spending. They control this. President just does that. Courts, have their say, right? The legislative branch, man, Mike Johnson and John Thune, their tongues are so far up Trump's ass they don't give a shit what he does. They're laying down. You have the people in the House, Republicans in the House, literally saying, if Donald Trump tells us to jump, it's our job to say how high, right? They don't care. They're just abdicating everything to Donald Trump. Whatever he wants, he gets. So now you only got you have one leg, and then they got the court, which of course it's the same courts that said that Donald Trump can commit any crime he wants to as president as long as it's part of an official act. Can't even question it. Can't investigate. Not even admissible as evidence. He can do anything. He can literally order the military to assassinate anybody who gets in his way. But it was an official act because he was talking to his generals, so you can't even question it. That's the power they've given him. And as a result of that power they've given him, everybody else is backing down and letting him do whatever.
Biden had that power, and I'm really, just a point of like Democrats are bitches. Like, I guess we could give a little preview of the where the angry Democrats, but like, if you're President Biden and you're out there talking about how Trump is the next Hitler and like democracy's on the line in this election, and the Supreme Court says presidents can't be prosecuted for official acts, and like you can just do official acts, like, and they literally specified, like, what if I wanted to say, I don't know, kill my political opponent, but like have the three-letter agency do it, or the military, or whatever. and
Exactly.
and they were like
Why
this,
didn't he do it?
like Kentanji Jackson Brown literally asked that exact question, and their
Mhm.
defense lawyer was like, yeah, that would be cool if that's what they wanted to do. So like, why didn't Biden just fucking, I don't know, blow his ass up? Why? The Supreme Court said you get a free pass, do whatever the fuck you want while you're president, do you, boo boo.
My
And
nine,
where's the bomb?
my
Where's the
nine,
gun? Where's the bullet? A 9-year-old, the fucking little
my,
tiny little teenage kid?
my 9-year-old keeps asking me this question: why didn't Joe Biden just kill him? Why didn't Joe Biden kill him? Right? And honestly, it's a hard question to answer. The only thing I can ever tell him is because most people, like here, Luigi Mangione is one of your heroes right now, right? But but
I wouldn't
most
say
people,
hero, but I mean
but,
he's dreamy,
but
and I
most
love
people,
his I love his work with the
I love
pistols.
his work. most people, most people recognize that murder is wrong, and a good person doesn't want to murder somebody, right? And granted, it's like, and I told him the
I'm
baby
more
Hitler.
of a
Now,
if you're not cheating, you're not trying sort of
yeah, there's
a
that too, but like it's
person.
like I asked Julian. I asked my son. All right, sorry. I asked my son. I said, all right, Julian, this is a thing that's people have debated for decades. I said, if you saw baby Hitler, would you kill him as a
Yes,
baby? And he says,
yes.
and you know what his answer was? I was very happy with his answer. I was relieved with his answer because sometimes he scares me with all of his rantings. He said, no. He said, no, I wouldn't kill him. He was a baby. I would just make sure that he didn't grow up to be a bad guy,
I
right?
wouldn't. I would
I'm
put his
like,
ass in a fucking oven and turn
I
it
know.
on
Nowadays, I mean, yeah, whatever. But
right into
I
the
was kind
oven
of
with little
happy.
baby Hitler.
I was happy that he did the good route. My child wants to be a good person, right? He
I'm
didn't want to.
disappointed. I thought your child was going to be much more ruthless than this.
I thought he would be too, but he said no, he wouldn't, right? And I was like, oh, you wouldn't? He goes, no, I would just make sure he didn't become a bad guy. And that's the problem with Democrats. They don't want to do the horrible murder thing. They don't want to go out there and do that. They know murder's wrong, right? They think that, well, we have the courts and we can delay stuff in the Senate and we can block these things and we can resist this and we can demonstrate and we can convince voters that this is bad. And it's all on the premise that they can work within the rules and system and stop stuff, right?
Yeah, it seems
And
like
the
that's just
problem is
getting them fucked. This has
that
been
is
my
getting them
it's been my
fucked.
issue with Democrats since
Exactly. And actually,
Obama's first term.
and I really do want to make sure you link to the Bulwark podcast from today with Michael Steele.
Put it in Notion. I'll
Yeah,
link it.
I did. And
All
yeah, he
right,
says
cool.
like the name of it's called "We Warned America, Now It's Fighting for Survival," and it starts off honestly. Michael Steele starts off talking about. And he's like, and this agrees with one of the points you were going to bring up later about Chuck Schumer. He's like, Chuck Schumer. He's like, what the fuck is he doing running? Bring this. He goes, he's gotten played. He says he's been made to look like a bitch every single time by Donald Trump and these
Every
Republicans.
time.
All these Democrats thought they can make a deal and talk about Hakeem Jeffries. He likes to Hakeem Jeffries, but at the very beginning, he's like, all right, we'll be stewards of the Americans, and we'll do this, and we'll work with them where we can, and blah. He's like, there's no fucking deal. These Republicans, they don't want to make a deal. They're just going to fuck you and do what they want unless you stop them. And they want to destroy all of this stuff. Same thing with Kash Patel and everybody else. They're going to do what they want. They want to destroy the FBI. They want to destroy all the intelligence services and all the cops and everybody who's looking at the illegal things that they were doing, stopping corruption. They got rid of the inspector generals. They're doing whatever the hell they want and running it. I mean, it is a mob boss that got into the White House, and now he knows he can't even be prosecuted. He's running it like it's the mob, and he's sending his enforcers out to do whatever until they're stopped. And if they're not stopped, good luck with elections. That's all I gotta say. Good luck with ever having a free and fair election, because by the time, let's say the courts say, oh, you can't do this, you can't do this, when the damage is already done, and the people are all fired, and the computers are shut down, and these payment systems are shuttered. Okay, on paper, the court says you couldn't have done that, but okay, well, it's already done. It's already gone. It's destroyed. What do you want me to do?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. We already did Control Alt Delete. You
Yes,
can't.
exactly.
What do we?
I
You can't. There's no Control Alt Undo Delete, Your Honor. That's just how. Do you know how computers work?
Yeah, I already went to the root directory and I did an RM space minus R star. You know, oops, I'm sorry. Yep, you're right. Oops, my bad. We are not allowed to do that. You know what? Next time we won't do that. And then they're going to walk away.
And then he's
Doesn't
gonna.
matter.
And then he's gonna. They're gonna be like, "You broke the law," and he's gonna be like, "Prosecute me," and he's gonna be like, "It was an official act, bitches. What you gonna
Yeah,
do? Nothing."
exactly, exactly. So yeah, I
Sounds like we got played, bro. I don't know. It just sounds like somebody was playing four-dimensional chess, and someone was like,
it was
"Please,
never four dimensional chess.
abide by the gentleman's rules," and they were like, "But no."
Yeah, honestly, it's not that complicated. It's not, I don't even think it's that complicated. They're just going to go through there and try and take control of everything they can do, shutter everything, centralize all the power, and
I think
good luck.
this is a learning opportunity. This is a learning opportunity for Democrats. Okay, and the lesson here I think is very clear. And here's the lesson. Okay,
Get loud. Get
when
out.
you are the one holding the gun, shoot that motherfucker. Shoot him. Don't If you are the one wielding power, you
Be
need to
careful.
use it to the full extent of the power, because
Be
when the
careful
other
with your
guy gets it,
analogy.
he will use it.
Be careful with your analogy here, because we're going to be a targeted group here soon. We're not talking positively about the country, and then you're or about the government. Sorry, we're not talking positively about the party in charge right now. And if you start talking about guns, we might end up in El
And,
Salvador at the
and
fucking the worst prison in the entire world,
why
where
would
he
we be
wants
in El
to.
Salvador?
You didn't read that news story?
You mean is that where Guantanamo Bay is?
No, that's Cuba. You
It's
didn't
cute.
read about CCOT?
No, I didn't read that.
Oh my god.
What if you put shit in the notion, bro? I'm just saying.
I didn't put that in the notes. You should look at CECOT, right? CET
CECOT.
CECOT.
Give me the cliff notes. I'll look it up later.
Cliff notes. El Salvador had a horrible problem with gang violence and terrorism and all these large scale gangs. I mean, a lot of people were coming from El Salvador because gangs were rampaging across the place there, controlling large swaths of the countryside and raping people and killing people, horrible gangs, right? MS-13. MS-13, we talk about MS-13? It's from El
Bad
Salvador,
hombres.
right? Yeah. Well, it was from El Salvador. And president of El Salvador and their police force and everything else, their government, they made a very good effort to go as far as Gabe would go on fighting things to
I don't think
get
they did.
control.
I don't think they went as far as I would go.
I think they pretty much did.
Okay, what did they do?
They made this massive, massive prison.
See, that's where
And
we diverge. I would have dug a giant hole in the ground and put them all in it.
they might be underground by now and dead. This might be where it's coming to why we have the offer we have from El Salvador. Anyway, they
Like you
put
know, you know how like in every movie where
Jesus.
like there's a gun and then like the good character gets it and they're like pointing it at the bad guy, but they don't want to shoot the bad guy, so they're just pointing the gun at him, and the bad guy's like exploiting their obvious stupidity
All
and
right.
weakness, and he takes the gun and then he like kills them. It's the
No, I don't
same
know about that.
thing.
No, it's not. Okay.
It,
Point is, the world's most ruthless, horrible prison, right, was built, right? 410 acres, right? It's massive, right? The whole place surrounded by lots of guards with firearms and riot gear, 15,000-volt fences surrounding the entire place. They got everybody. They killed a lot of people. They put a lot of people in there. They have little cells, 70 to a cell, right? They're not, they have to eat, they have to shave their head every couple days, right? The guards come in there and do that at gunpoint. They do not get any kind of sheets or beds or pillows or anything. They have 4 or 5 story tall metal shelves, right? That they all have to sit and lay on, right? All day long. They're never allowed outside. They're never allowed any visitors. They're never allowed any lawyers. They're never allowed anything at all to check on their well being. They are disappeared to this place, right? And it held about 40,000 people. And their crime rate plummeted because anybody who did anything wrong would be put in there for life, never to see anything again. Why don't they kill them? Because they could just kill them. Because it is so
Life is
much more
scarier.
cruel. It's so much more cruel to leave them locked in there like sardines 24/7. They never turn the lights off. They're not allowed. The lights are always on 24/7, bright lights. Sitting, you should look at some of the pictures they had there. I mean, it's horrible, right? And at one point, it held up to 40,000 people. Now, we'd have no idea how many people are currently in there, if any, anymore, because nobody knows what happens to people. They just get disappeared there, and nobody ever sees them again, right? But El Salvador's president made a deal with Donald Trump. He offered him. They were very happy. And Rubio, he's talking. He's like, hey, he offered for a fee, you know, for anybody that Donald Trump wants to send out of the country, right? Rather than build detention camps and concentration camps here in America, we can just pay El Salvador and we can put them in that prison. U.S. citizens, anybody. Put criminals here. Bring them here. We'll pay you, or you
We're
can pay
gonna.
us.
Are we really gonna like export our deportations?
They offered that
So
for
American.
they offered that because some countries don't want to take people from us when we want to deport somebody, right? They're like, well, hey, well, if Mexico or Colombia or somebody's not going to take the people, we'll just take them. You can pay us, and we'll just put them in this horrible prison. Nobody will ever see them again.
That
And that
sounds
was
pretty awful.
and that deal's on the table now. So we'll see if Trump wants to take them up on it. I don't know if we'll ever know about it because I think people might just get, if they do agree to it, people will just get disappeared to El Salvador and nobody would ever know. But the offer is public. The offer was on the table publicly.
You don't think anybody will ever know?
Who would know? How would you know? We don't know what happened to the people that we stole the kids from the first time Trump was here. They deported people. Oops, their kids are here. Okay, where are their parents? We don't know. Who were their parents? We don't know. Oops, we don't have records. Sorry.
But we we do know that that happened.
Yeah, we know that it happened. We know that people got deported, but we don't know where they got deported. We don't know what happened. Oops. Maybe they got deported. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they got deported. Maybe they escaped. Who knows, man? Maybe they went to El Salvador. Who knows? We didn't. We lost the records. If
Well,
you mess up the computer system that had the records, then where are the records? Where's the proof? You won't have any proof. You have no inspector generals, and they have no lawyers. Remember, that's one of the executive orders by Trump. No more immigration judges. That's one of their executive orders. They do not have to wait to see a judge or see anybody. They can just be deported immediately upon requesting asylum. They never see a judge. They never get a lawyer. They never talk to anybody. Who is going to know where they went?
okay, but like for that problem, like that actually is like a real problem though. So like you come into the country and you say, "Oh, I want asylum." Like, okay, well, a judge has to process your claim. Put that
Not
in the
anymore.
Constitution.
Not anymore, though.
Okay, but like I'm explaining the problem. So this was the problem. Okay, then they're like, "All right, well, we're gonna see you at court in 18 months. Make sure you come back for your court date. Get out of here, you little rascal." And they just cut them loose, and they just go wherever they're gonna go and do whatever they're gonna do. And they're just like they're in this undocumented state, but they're allowed to be in the country. And a lot of times they just don't show up to their court date. Or I wouldn't even say a lot of times. I don't know how many times.
It's
Maybe
about
they
one
all
percent. It's about one
maybe they
percent.
all show up to their court dates.
They really overwhelmingly do. It's like
They
one
really over
percent.
okay.
Yeah, it's like 1% doesn't maybe.
But they like it shouldn't be that you have like this long time
It
where
shouldn't
you're
be.
waiting in the country.
They should just have more immigration judges.
Yes, absolutely. They should be able to like or they should be able to like grant someone asylum, you know,
But that's a crime now.
they should be like, "Hey, you know what? You've got asylum for 6 months because that's how long it's going to be until, you know what I mean? Like you shouldn't just put people out with like without a status. You should put them out with a status. Like that whole system could be way better.
It could have been, yeah, but they don't. Like Trump doesn't want that.
They want it to not work so they can say it's broken.
Right now, I mean, you can't even request asylum anymore in America. You can't. You are
At all?
automatically no. You
What
come
if
over
you're
to the
like a
border.
white person from like a nice white country?
No,
What if you're a rich South African who
you
owns,
can't do it at the
say, an
border.
emerald mine?
You can't do it at the border. I mean,
Emerald
I don't know
mine,
how
not
you go
mine.
about it that way. You might have to. I mean, I don't know how they would go about it, but if you're coming to the border, if you're coming to a port of entry at the border, and you come to the port of entry, you are immediately turned away. No judge, no hearing, no anything, and they send you back. They put you in a car, they handcuff you, and they send you somewhere. That is the
So
new
what?
policy of the
So
U.S.
what is that? What does that incentivize?
It incentivizes people coming illegally and trying to sneak across without going through a port of entry.
Okay, what happens when they do that?
If they make it or if they get caught.
Let's say they get caught.
If they get caught, then they're just put in a detention facility indefinitely.
Yeah, it doesn't sound great.
Yeah.
They put them in a
If they have a
detention
kid,
facility. They don't
if they
send
have a
them
kid,
back.
huh?
They put them in a detention facility. They don't just send them back.
Well, they will send them. Well, they say they'll send them back, but you know they'll put them in a detention facility first. They don't let them walk free. They're just going to immediately grab them, arrest them, put them in a detention facility until they can throw them back, assuming they're going to get sent back somewhere. And apparently, if the question is the country won't take them back, right? Like they don't want to say like no, and I guess El Salvador is on the table, or they will stay in a detention facility indefinitely with no hearing. That's new the executive order. Another new executive order. No hearings, no judges, no lawyers.
So I think now is a good time to ramble a little bit about the merits of undocumented immigrants, like and having them be a part of your system. So like when you have undocumented immigrants, you're basically you're getting like a sort of second class citizen, right?
Free
So
tax
like
money.
they come in, right, when they get paid, or say they get paid under the table like in cash. Okay, so that's the thing that happens, sure. But like, some of them get paid because they're in some kind of status that's just not green card or citizenship. It's not like an official permanent status. It's some sort of impermanent status. Okay, they're working, they have a job, they're paying taxes, or they're working construction for cash and they're still buying stuff, and so they're still paying taxes. Okay, now the like when you have this status, that like you can't go to the police, you can't take advantage of social services because you don't have that status, and you don't want to jeopardize your ability to be here and do this work because even if you're getting paid less than what an American worker would get paid to do the same job, it's still good money for you because the situation you're leaving behind is worse than the situation that you're in now. Like, when the alternative is like, getting your head macheted off of your shoulders by an MS-13 guy because they want your block, and so you leave your country and walk for 3 months through who knows what sort of hell, and then you finally get here and like, oh, you're just staying in an apartment with like 12 other people. Like that's a much better situation than you were in before, and now you're earning way more money even though you're earning less than what a normal American would get. You're still earning way more money than you would have earned there, enough that you can send money back and take care of your family or your parents or your whatever, or save up for when you eventually just go back to your own country, and then you don't have to live in the block that MS-13 unalives you for living on. So they have this incentive to try to stay here, right? So like they have to kind of keep their head down. They don't take advantage of social services, and in a lot of cases, they're not eligible for social services. So you have this workforce that's going to work for less money, which is going to keep more money in the hands of Americans. They're paying taxes, and like if you look at the immigrants' taxes, I think if it's like 2023 or 2024, 2023 or 2022, I think is the number I'm thinking of. But like they contributed more than they cost, $96 billion. Like so, like all the immigrants being here contributed $96 billion more than what the government spent on all of the like judges and the ICE and like all the different social services that they might have used, the all the different things. Uh, so like it's to our benefit to have access to this workforce that's willing to do jobs we don't want to do for less money than we would pay people, live in worse conditions than we want to live in. Like that's actually a very advantageous thing. And at the same time, they're incentivized to behave very well, to follow the law, to build businesses and to work hard, because this whole thing is like is for them. It's this rare opportunity to leave something worse behind and build something better. And so it's imperative. Like it costs this like long, arduous, dangerous journey, where you
Yeah.
can die or get taken advantage of or whatever, and like it is this chance at like a better life.
Yeah.
And so like, yes, there are always going to be like people in a population, especially a vulnerable population, where like crimes happen. But if you look at the statistics, immigrants, illegal or legal, commit fewer crimes than citizens because of this incentive structure. They're leaving behind something worse for something better. It's a very difficult thing to get
Yeah.
here, to try to leave that behind. This is their chance at something better. This is their chance to take care of their families and build something and try to become Americans, and like they are incentivized to do things the right way. And so we as Americans are incentivized like in two ways, right? On the one hand, there's the incentivization of like keep taking advantage of them, make so the systems don't work, lock them into this shitty status where they're kind of in limbo forever and they're allowed to be here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the other way that you can incentivize is like, well, these are people who like want to be here, who want to work. Like, you know, my wife is an immigrant, uh, and a lot of her friends are, and all these people have like gotten advanced degrees, started businesses, own property. Like they bust their asses in a way that Americans don't. Like this is like to like Elon and Vivek Ramaswamy's point that like people were upset about for 5 minutes a couple weeks ago. Like immigrants have a different mindset. Like they're like, yeah, I've seen what it's like when you're in like a fully fascist country. I've seen what it's like when the gangs take over and there is no like rule of law. I've seen what it's like when like the value of your currency collapses and like suddenly a dollar is worth 20 cents, and so like everyone's broke at the same time. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it, and I
Don't want to go back. Not going
took
back.
my chance. Yeah, so now I'm here and I'm trying to like make sure I don't have to go back to living in that kind of a way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And not only that, I mean, Jesus, if nothing else, another misconception people need to remember is they work. And here, if you're undocumented, newsflash, undocumented people work normal jobs all the time. Usually what happens is somebody lets them borrow their social security number, security card, right? Maybe they get a little fake ID, right? They say, "Oh yes, hi, I'm Gabe, or I'm
I'm Smith.
John Smith," whatever like that. Even if your name is Hector, whatever, via, whatever, something else, right? You get working somewhere, right? You're paying your social security tax. You're paying social security taxes. You're paying these other taxes. You're taking these payroll taxes. You are paying taxes because you're working at a real job. You can't collect any benefits later. You're never going to be able to collect these benefits because you're undocumented. You're not going to
Yeah,
be
they pay in, they
security.
pay into Social Security and
They pay into
Medicare and
all these things
Medicaid and,
and they
and
don't get a
federal
dollar of it.
tax and state tax, and they get nothing back.
Correct. So all those people who say, "Oh, they're freeloaders," no, they're not, man. They're busting their ass, paying taxes, and they cannot ever get anything back from that tax money they're paying. They
Like
are
they want,
deciding
like
to
they
support
want
you.
to, they want to become citizens so that they
Yes.
can get the Social Security that they paid
Yeah.
into.
Yeah.
But
So
even
and
Social
then
Security, you have to pay into it for a certain number of years at a certain amount of work in order to be able to get benefits.
yeah, you take all the people out of the fast food industry who are illegal and all that money going into the Social Security Administration, all the people in the farm industry paying into the Social Security,
All the people in the
take them out of it,
construction
take
industry.
all the construction, take all that money that's going into the Social Security pot out of the Social Security pot. Now,
But
get
it's not
rid of all
just
these
that though.
workers.
Like those people are like when they leave, they're not going to pay rent. They're not going to buy gasoline. They're not going to buy dinner. They're not going to
Yeah,
buy
exactly.
bedding and clothing and like
Yeah,
all the other,
yeah.
internet and cell phones, all the other stuff that it takes to live. They're not going to. All the
Newsflash
businesses are going to lose all of that business.
and newsflash: undocumented people, right? When like they have a family and they're working real jobs and they're making money, right? Because they're working real jobs, paying taxes, not collecting benefits. They also buy houses and they rent houses, right? And sometimes because they don't have very high paying jobs, sometimes if you're ill, if you're undocumented and you got two or three family members who are all working not the greatest paying jobs, but you're working hard, right? They might live together, right? They might have like a 1 or 2 bedroom house with 3, 4 people in it, right? But they're paying rent. They're buy a house. They're paying more. They're paying property taxes. They're paying all these other taxes into the place, right? I mean, it's a lot of tax revenue going in, benefiting the community, overwhelmingly not committing crimes because you don't want to land yourself on the radar of law enforcement and get busted being here illegally.
You ever see this picture? It's a there's iterations of this, right? But it's like a political cartoon. I've seen it a few times recently. It basically goes like this. There's an old guy wearing a suit. He's sitting at one part of a table, and he's got a pile of cookies by him. He's got like 1,000 cookies. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another guy. There's like a white guy in like Carhartts and like a MAGA hat. Okay. And he's sitting there and he's got one cookie. And then across from the guy in the MAGA hat is like a brown guy. He's some kind of brown, but he's also wearing Carhartts the same way. He's not wearing a MAGA hat. He's just wearing a hat. Okay. And the guy with like 1,000 cookies looks to the guy with one cookie, and he points at the brown guy and he goes, "He's gonna steal your cookie."
Yeah.
And the guy in the MAGA hat just like gets real upset, and this is the game. This is the thing. This is like all of the issues about DEI and trans and immigrants. It is all a big distraction from like the guy who actually stole all your fucking cookies, and
Yeah.
it is the rich people. It's
Yeah.
it's Donald, it's Elon, it's Peter Thiel. It's this collection of this. Let's call them, say, a basket of deplorables, if you will. A bundle of fucks. Yeah, like that's the whole thing. Like and so they get people riled up about immigrants just as a distraction.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
air's
yeah,
dying. Move
that's what I
on.
was saying. Yeah, I was saying that's what the segue into the other stuff. I mean, I figured that's the
Yeah,
segue
that's
into
what I was
that's a
gonna do.
perfect segue
Into which
into
thing?
we're taking over the Gaza Strip.
Oh, I knew you were gonna. I was hoping you'd go for Gaza. Yes.
Big,
Oh
big,
God.
big, big smoke screen distraction. I mean, does anybody think? No, this is a wonderful distraction because it serves two purposes. One, it tells everybody on your racist base that, yeah, fuck these brown people, right? That's what they're saying basically.
There's no okay, but there's
Because,
no way to win with the
they're
neo
like,
Nazis on this one though, because like you can either fuck the Palestinians and help the Jews, or you can
no, no,
fuck the
no, no.
Jews
You
and
didn't say we're
help the
going to help the Jews.
Palestinians.
How are you helping the Jews? You're fucking the Palestinians, and then the United States will own it. We'll have the Riviera of the Middle East. It wouldn't be a Jewish state, it'd be a U.S. territory,
There's no way
allegedly.
he's gonna. There's no
It's
way
never
he's
going to
gonna call
happen.
it the Riviera. It's gonna be Trump Gaza.
That's what they called it. That's what he said. He said the Riviera of the Middle East.
Yeah, but you
That's what
really
they
think
called
he's
it.
gonna miss that branding
He's not going
opportunity?
to do
There's
it.
no
We're
way.
not going to do it. It's a smoke screen. That's why Netanyahu was holding in his laughter at the stupidity of it when he's sitting right next to him. He's just like laughing, like he just ate a bunch of shit. He's smiling, like, oh my god, I can't believe he's saying this shit,
I didn't
right?
watch the video,
And you
but
saw Susie Wild's face. Oh my god, you look at
who's
Susie
Susie
Wild's face,
Wilds?
his chief of staff, right? She was standing right behind him.
Oh,
Google the Susie Wiles picture. Susie Wiles Gaza pic. Let's see if that comes up. Oh yeah, there you go. Susie space WILES space Gaza pic. Just type that in, and you can look at her eyes blowing up the size of fucking sand dollars. Right? Like, what the fuck is he saying? Oh my god! At that look, as he's talking about taking over Gaza, It's never going to happen.
God.
So you see the picture,
Do
I
you think?
guess.
Do you I'm seeing it. I'm seeing like a whole browser window full of just this. Like I'm seeing like 40 versions of this picture.
Yes. Yes. Because it's insane and stupid. And she's like, what the fuck?
Do you
And
think he just like?
Netanyahu
Do you
just
think he
starts
was just
cracking
like
up laughing. He's
freestyling?
trying
Do you think he just like
to, he
made
was
it up
just
on the
freestyling,
spot?
man. Of course he did. But when he says some stupid, outlandish shit like that, yes, it's racist. It's so funny to talk about ethnic cleansing. I mean, what could be funnier to a Republican than talking about the forcible removal of millions of people off their homeland? And oh man, it's such a hoot to those Republicans. They love it, right?
let
So
me let me
it
let me take
does.
this
It
opportunity
stirs the
to.
pot. It stirs the pot every which way. But it's a smokescreen to the real shit they're doing.
Okay, but it also it gives me a great opportunity to talk shit to the children of Tard Talk.
Yes.
Because on the totally not a Chinese psyop propaganda machine, where they just went on and on and on and on and on about Genocide Joe all over Tard Talk. They were just Genocide Joe this and Genocide Joe that, and he's Genocide Joe's always been a Genocide Joe from the very beginning. So much genocide for Joe. Uh, so they thought like, yeah, we'll just say nothing about Trump as Jared Kushner is talking about how uh, the property would be really good beachfront property. It could be great for condos. Like in 2024, actually, I'm going to link this article, but it's February 15th. He was at Harvard University doing an interview. The video came out a couple days later. But actually, video interview was February 14th. Video came out March 19th. But he was like, yeah, it should be waterfront property. And just to get a little conspiratorial, when in Trump's first term, Kushner was in charge of Middle East peace, and what he came back with was like a $1 billion deal for his dad's investment company that he went to after the administration. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Jared's plan for Middle East peace was a one state solution where Israel lets their guard down so that Hamas can do some sort of horrible attack, kind of like what happened on October the 7th, giving Israel an excuse to just go and just like ground pound Gaza into a giant pile of rubble full of unalive children. And then, you know, to just like sweep it all away and build condos and, get like those people to go live in Syria or Jordan or something. That sounds like a pretty Kushner plan for peace in the Middle East.
I don't think they
Too
ever had a.
conspiratorial, too much credit.
I think too much credit. I think Jared Kushner and their plan for peace in the Middle East is, hey, Saudi Arabia and other countries out here that hate Israel and hate the United States. You don't really hate us, right? You just hate the fact that we don't like the fact that you're brutal, horrible dictatorship regimes that kill women on the street, for showing their ankles and stuff, right? You hate the fact that we tell you that's wrong, right? Yes. Satan. Okay, got it. How about this? We stop giving a shit what you do to your people, and we'll give you a whole bunch more weapons. That sound good to you? You do whatever the fuck you want. We'll give you a ton of weapons and make sure that your people will never be able to rise up against you, no matter what you do to them. And in exchange, just give me some money when we're out of the White House. Maybe, I don't know, a few $1 billion. Sound good? Cool. Peace. That's more, I think that's their peace plan.
I
They got
see.
rich. Kushner, they got tons of money. The whole thing with Qatar and everything else. Like they don't really care. Their peace deal is here. Drop the shit about Israel. We'll give you whatever the fuck you want, and we won't condemn you for your human rights abuses. And we'll give you a whole bunch of money. Cool. Happy. We're all happy now, right? You get rich. I get rich. Cool. Let's drop it. That's their peace deal. It's transactional.
That
I
makes
don't think
sense.
it's. I don't
That
think
is
it's.
his
I
that
don't
is his
think it's.
MO.
Yeah, because here, I mean, first of all, Egypt and Palestine, Egypt and Jordan and all of them, they're not taking in the Palestinians. They don't want them. Jordan's had a problem with Palestinians anyway because they're always right there, and tons of Palestinians when they're on their land because all the problems always back and forth, between Israel and them and the other terrorist groups and Hamas. A lot of Palestinians live in Jordan. You know what I mean? And Jordan was not too happy about. They don't want to become Palestine. You know what I mean? They want to have their own country, and they're always walking a tightrope. But they don't want to take in an influx of millions of Palestinians. I mean, what could destabilize your country more than millions and millions of impoverished people who've been living with terrorists? And a lot of them might be. Who knows? You don't know who's a terrorist and who's not. You just know there's millions of people have no homes, no money, no careers now because their entire world has been destroyed. And now you have this millions and millions of people coming into your country, and you have to do something about it. Otherwise, you're going to have millions of more unhappy people living in your country. Nobody wants it. They're not going to do anything for the Palestinians, so they're not going to take them in. So then it's either, okay, you either do real ethnic cleansing and eradicate everybody, or it never happens. This whole plan never happens. And, you know,
You don't think they could just be like, but Jordan, what if you had like a giant pile of money?
they have giant piles of money. All those Middle Eastern countries do.
Yeah, but they always want more giant piles of money.
No, they rather just have. They have all the money they need, right? The kingdom, it's a kingdom, right? They got a king.
Saudi Arabia, yeah, but they're not talking about sending them to Saudi Arabia. They're talking about sending them to Egypt and Jordan, which doesn't have nearly the money of like Saudi Arabia. And most of like the funding for Hamas comes from Iran anyway, not Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia and us are kind of bros.
Yeah, but either way, they're not gonna. They're not all cool with. They're not going to do anything for the Palestinians, man.
I don't know. I think that somebody would take a deal to take some Palestinians for some cash. It doesn't seem completely
All of them,
implausible to me.
all of them.
I don't know, man. Maybe like
No.
half of them fall off the truck on the way. I don't know, but I bet you they're gonna get them out of Gaza and build those condos. Like, uh, that's my prediction. My prediction is that they're gonna build the condos.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's so frustrating to like. Because I remember when it was happening, like when all the genocide Joe shit hit. It was like right after like the TikTok. They were like, ah, let's actually do what Trump suggested and ban TikTok because he was the originator of that plan.
yeah,
Uh, oh, but also just to like totally correct us from last week. So Trump did have in 2019 that push for diverse hirings for air traffic controllers, but that was a continuation and just like a marketing blitz for an Obama era policy.
yeah. Sorry, I had to hit mute and yelled at my son that his bath's ready.
Oh yes, very important.
uh,
But yeah, the kids aren't all right. The kids are fucking retarded.
Kids are retarded, and even
This
the really
is
smart ones who can decode ancient languages are retarded for working with Elon Musk or supporting him.
this is what happens when you let China serve 170 million Americas, whatever propaganda benefits them the most.
Now, I will say this. I do want to say this real fast because usually every time we record these, we only record once a week, and 9 times out of 10, within hours or 24 hours of doing a recording, I'm calling Gabe and saying, "Oh, see, look at that! This already happened. The Pete Hegseth thing happened the day after, and before that, a week before, there's something else." I was like, the fall of the Syrian government. I was like, man, I'd be surprised if that government stands by next week, and literally the next day it was gone. So anyway, the Elon Musk, there's a injunction right now. Passed today, a few hours ago, right? And they're blocked. They're all blocked from accessing any more data and getting access to any of these computers anymore. Anybody who's not Tom Krause, which is just one employee in the Department of Treasury, Marco Iles, whatever, the Department of Treasury, a person who is an employee of the Department of Treasury, right? No, quote, special government employees, which is what they were trying to categorize Doge and Elon Musk and all those people as. They're trying to say they were special government employees because they
Mhm.
were not employed by the government. They were just like uh, free help, the buddies.
In
the
order to
contractors, whatever,
classify Elon as a government employee,
is a
because he has
conflict
so
of
many
interest.
contracts,
I know.
it's literally breaking the law. Like
Yes,
I
that is
saw the
also,
thing that had the law, but I don't remember it off the top of my head. But
yeah.
it
So
literally is breaking the law.
yeah, any person who is entitled to access under the record under 5 USC, they have a whole statute of these people, and a person who's access relevant record under the Internal Revenue Code. So in other words, all of Elon Musk and his buddies and the Doge and all them, they are all now have been blocked from accessing anything until they can go to court. It's like a injunction
But
until
they're
they
going
can
to go
go
to
to court.
court, and they're going to put in the Secretary of the Treasury. Has Trump got his Secretary of the Treasury in yet, or is it still not done?
No, it's still not done. They still have
Okay, well they're going to get him in. Whoever it is, they're going to get the whatever dipshit it is. They're going to
well,
get
yeah,
him
but
in.
yeah, he doesn't know how to do any of this shit on the computers.
Right, but then that guy's gonna like fire the guy who's on the allowed list. All those people, they're all just gonna fire all of them, and they're gonna hire their own cadre. Uncle Dipshit is gonna come in and Mr. Robot the fucking computers. Like, it's just like
Either way,
they're just gonna put someone into the official title slot and then let them do it anyway.
well, they would have to do that. They would have to say, okay, the 18-year-old kid who is really good at this stuff, he is now whatever, this employee. They'd have to hire the person, get the security clearances, and get everything else that you have to get to be an employee.
Well, you know how Trump treats security clearances. He just goes, "Give it to him," and then they give it to him.
That's true too. Yeah. God, Pete
But
Hegseth.
also, they're 19. Come on, man,
Is-
respect the youth. He's not one of those little tiny
Oh,
little TikTok tired
God.
babies. He's a big grown 19-year-old full of
Yeah.
tablet deciphering smarts.
Yeah. Anyway, but either way, right now it's on hold. But again, it's kind of like telling the bank robber after he's walked out of the vault with all of the money. They said, "Hey, you can't do that anymore." He's already got the data. They've already been installing shit on the people's computers. They're already doing stuff. And the FBI, oh my god, I'm glad that the FBI is going to court. It's really sad that the only things are happening in court, but I'm glad that the FBI agents have taken this stuff to court because they're already. Trump already requested that the Department of Justice turn over the all names of all 6,000 FBI people who are in any way involved in investigating anybody on January 6th, right? Because he wants all of their names and information. Why do you want the names of all 6,000 people? Why do you and Elon want
Bro,
all
come
that?
on, nothing bad has ever happened because of
Yeah,
a bunch of people being on a list. Like that's just never
yeah,
gone wrong
exactly,
ever.
exactly. So they got
What
a
are you
list.
afraid of?
So they already got a list with everybody. It's kind of like some companies; they'll have like employee ID numbers or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, there's a lot of companies do this. McDonald's does this, right? They might have an employee ID that'll tie to your records, but all the normal systems you use, you don't show the sensitive information. You just show this other identifying information, right?
Oh,
It's an ID, right? So that way you're not using your social security number, you're not using your real name, right? And they got that list of all 6,000 people. And the FBI agents did get a court to put another injunction saying, hey, you can't turn over the other piece, which is to tie those IDs with the names and addresses and social security numbers of all the people. But again, that's just a stopgap. They're going to end up getting the names of everybody.
of
But
course.
but yeah, I mean, think about it. They're trying to control the money. They're trying to get the names of anybody who did anything negative against them. Lists.
They're elected. They're doing all the things that they can do. Of course. I would be much more worried if they weren't trying to flood. Like if Donald Trump was like not trying to just like jam a bunch of bullshit in and make it chaos and like hide by way of like there's like a million things happening so you can't pay attention to all of them. I would be more worried if he was just like heads down, government as usual. We're gonna make the economy hum along. Everything's gonna be great. Like he's shitting in his own breakfast.
No,
Like
he's doing what he does.
he's making a big mess that is like gonna have the potential to bite him in the ass come the midterms. Instead of just like you know, why isn't he just like actually making the price of eggs go down?
They asked about that. Even Fox News was asking about that today at a press conference too, and they didn't have any good answers for that. He said they cited, look what he did during his first term as evidence of that he is going to do everything he can do. Yeah, it was kind of stupid. They're like, hey, he's talking about Gaza, he's talking about this, da, da, da. And it was a Fox News reporter who was asking, and she's like, I come from Fox News, I know you guys are, you know, this is important to us, blah blah blah. Look at
Okay,
this
so
first
when
term.
Trump on January 16th, price of eggs was $6.12.
Jesus.
Price today, or no, sorry, price as of January 30th, $7.09. Price of gasoline December 16th, $3.02. Price of gasoline today, or February 3rd, $3.08. 17 days in office, four days spent golfing, or 23.53%.
That's down from his first term, but it's winter.
It's winter.
It is
It's
winter.
winter.
He spent much more time his first term golfing than this
He's
term. But
he's
this
just
is the
getting
middle of
started.
winter, folks. This is the middle of winter. Just think about
Bro,
that.
you can't golf when you gotta sign 100 executive orders a day. Like
Oh, God.
you gotta be out there photo opping. Okay,
No, but
I wanna switch to the Klobuchar talking about the Kash Patel hearing.
oh yeah, Cash Patel.
Right. So I'll get the link for the video for this uh, Amy Klobuchar clip from the Kash Patel, director of the FBI hearing. So there's this thing that everyone does in the hearings where they ask the person a question that they know they will lie about, and what they need to do is give it a preface, right? Like Amy Klobuchar should have come out and been like, at my staff and me have worked to compile a video showing the public statements that Kash Patel has made that I'm about to talk about, and you, good viewer, can go find them at youtube.com/ at Kash Patel said. Okay, just repeat that. Hold it up on a poster board for the cameras, for the C-SPAN cameras. Okay, and say you can find this video of Kash saying literally everything I'm about to ask him about with links to the podcasts where he said it, so you can get the full context. And then you don't ask them if they said XYZ. You ask them why they said XYZ. You follow up with what did they hope to accomplish by saying it? Ask them if they talked to Donald Trump about it beforehand. Ask if it landed the way they hoped it would. Leading questions that state specifically that they said the thing only. Because what they actually do is
You're, break,
like, I'm breaking up?
you're breaking up a little bit.
Dang it, this is not a good time for that.
I know.
Hopefully the technological issue will right itself. We'll have to
Okay.
find out. But so like what they actually do is she goes to him and she's like, did you say that on day one you would close down the FBI headquarters and on day two you would open it up as a museum of the deep state? Did you say that? And he's like, these lies and slanders are just bad for the FBI and blah blah blah. Oh, you're impugning my integrity and you're a bad person for making up all these lies and slander. And it's like, that's what he's going to do, because every time you ask one of these like slimy little squirrel fucks like, did you say the thing that we have you on video saying? They're just like, how dare you impugn my honor, sir? I am a scholar and a gentleman. Like, it's just deny, 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 deny. And what happens is then Asmongold or, Lex Friedman or whatever dipshit on the right uh, goes and makes a video about it. And they're showing the video. And like, they see Amy Klobuchar getting really upset that she's like, but this is the stuff that he said. There's video of him saying these exact words, word for word. How can he like get away with this? Because they're operating in this world where like being caught in a lie or saying something bad or like having shame are things that matter. But that's not where we're at anymore. Like this thing where you ask them a question knowing they'll lie and say, gotcha, you're lying, it only works if we all abide by this gentleman's code where we care if we get caught. Like, there's no consequence or fallout from the lie in a flooding, overwhelmed political coup, which is what we're in. It's a complete waste of your time. But if instead she had been like, let me put you on blast, and direct everyone. So then like Asmongold plays the clip and it like links to the other YouTube video, and then Asmongold is obliged to go and look at it. And then he plays the clip, the video of him saying it. Like if you go to like these right-wing people, you see this completely biased take on this thing. You see them just being like, oh, blah, blah, blah. He seems like a great guy. She's so flustered, LOL. But if she was saying the thing and then you went to the video, like it's like if you it would be more like if you go to Brian Tyler Cohen, where you go to Brian Tyler Cohen talking about it. Brian Tyler Cohen plays all the videos and links to the podcasts and the
Yeah, but
dates.
yes, but here, time out. One thing: who runs Brian Tyler Cohen's show?
Brian Tyler Cohen.
Yes, not the Senate Republicans. You think that Chuck Grassley would have allowed that?
For her
Play
to
video in the Senate
no,
chamber?
she doesn't need no,
Yeah.
she doesn't need to play video. She
Okay.
needs to say this is where the video is so that when people watch it, they watch this clip on like Lex Friedman or Asmongold or whatever other Leo Von, pick your right-wing influencer of
I mean, I
choice.
see what you're saying, but at the same time, it doesn't really matter. She's like, "You did not say this." No, I did not say that. Let me shut the record. She reads stuff. I mean, they all did it. I didn't see
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
hers.
Like, don't ask them if don't ask them if they said it because you
Yes,
know they're gonna lie, and
yes, I
lying
did.
doesn't matter.
Well, but
No one cares.
technically,
There's no consequence for it.
no, but technically, there could be, even though it's never charged, at least the fact that he perjured
No,
himself
bro. This is
did
the
happen.
same dumb dipshit
I know, but
fucking
I'm saying it
bringing
doesn't.
a note from your mom to a fucking fist fight bullshit that Democrats are
But
losing
here's the thing.
because of.
No, but here's the thing, though. It doesn't. In this case, at least what she did do by phrasing it the way she did it is he actually did commit perjury, right? Because he actually lied.
No, he
It,
didn't. He didn't say that he didn't say it.
he said they. What did he say? What was his answer exactly?
His answer was like, I'm endorsed by 300,000 members of law enforcement. Ask them about my
Well,
credentials.
I saw other ones. I think shit was it Elizabeth Warren? I can't remember. I remember was it Elizabeth Warren? I remember one of the other people were asking questions, and they were kind of doing the same thing. That you
They
said blah
all
blah
did the
blah.
same thing.
And he says, I didn't say that. Can you, I don't think that's the context right. And then she would read off again what he said. He's like, oh, you're just making things up now. I didn't say that. And it's like, no, you did say this. This is unquote. And he just denied saying it. I mean, he literally denied saying the thing that they did at a couple points, read off exactly what he said. And he just denied it. He goes, it's all the Democrats are just making stuff up now. They're just making things up. It's like the
Yeah,
same thing.
but saying they're just making stuff up is not saying I never said that. It's like it's an artful dodge. And like this is the thing, they're going to artfully dodge. You know that even if they eat shit on the artful dodge and just like straight lie, like directly lie, the people who would have to hold them to account have no desire to do so.
Yeah,
So
but
they're not gonna.
the thing that sucks is, do you think it would have made one bit of difference? Do you think if she asked her questions in a different way, or if any of the Democrats had asked their questions in a different way, do you think it would have caused any of the Republicans to say, well, yeah, no, I know this guy, Kash Patel. I know he already made the book. He already said all these people he wants to lock up and who's getting in the way of Donald Trump, and he already said that he's going to be his
No,
for.
no,
No,
but
they're not
that's
going to
but
stop in his way.
that's not the fight though. That's not the battle we're waging. The battle that fight is we already lost that fight. Okay? We're
Yeah.
fighting the next fight. And the next fight is, do the people who are going to vote maybe in 2 years if we're lucky, or who are going to protest in a month or 6 months from now if we're lucky, do those people know how full of shit this guy is?
And here's the thing.
That's the battle. Like she's not going to get any Republicans to change their mind. She's not going to get him to embarrass himself and drop out. There's going to be no consequence. We all know that
But
there's no consequence. So you need to fight the information war on social media because that's how you can win tomorrow. Like they're not even fighting over tomorrow. They're just eating shit today, coming in knowing they already lost, and they're just eating shit. They could at least be like taking a swing at tomorrow.
the other thing is though, right? And in a way, it still doesn't matter. I honestly, I don't think this is that big of a deal, right? I mean, I wish the Democrats could do more. I mean, they did delay it another week. Yay, they got to hold back another week of him. They got it, pushed through today. So
I can't
it'll,
I can't believe they're gonna let this guy because this is the most like
they're
like
gonna let Robert
dumbass
Kennedy through.
failing up
They're
like
gonna let
just
they're gonna let Tulsi through. I remember last week I was like, I don't see Tulsi getting through. they're going to let Tulsi through. They're going to let RFK through. Even the
I told
doctor
you
that
they're gonna let everybody
they're going
through.
to let everybody through, man. They are going to let Donald Trump do anything he wants. We no longer have three branches of government.
We
We got
haven't had three branches of government for a while.
we absolutely had three branches of government when Biden was president. You had an executive branch, you had a legislative branch owned by Republicans who wouldn't let him do shit, and you had a Republican Supreme Court that sometimes would let Biden get away with what he wants to, and sometimes would say,
Yeah,
"Yeah, the
but
Republicans can do it."
we didn't have three branches of government. We had an obstructionist party and a Democratic president. That's
Yeah,
two.
and
That's
then
what
you
we
got
had.
and then you had courts, and you had courts. You know, Biden won some in courts, they lost some in courts. But either way, we no longer have three branches of government currently with the Republicans in the House and Senate. They are not in co-equal branch. They are a subservient branch. They are a wing of the White House.
Like this is not the time. Well, I mean, I guess it's.
And so
I guess
whatever Amy Klobuchar, how she phrased her questions wouldn't make a difference. And right now, people are still not tuning in. Hearings about who's going to be a director doesn't make the sexy news, especially when you have a president screaming about taking over Gaza and tariff wars and taking over Greenland and Panama and all this other shit. It's all that is what's drowning everything else out. No one's paying attention to the people in the confirmation hearings. No one's watching C-SPAN and watching these questions. Social media isn't going to be a buzz about how Amy Klobuchar beat up Kash Patel in the hearing when you have a president saying that we're going to take over the Gaza Strip. And they know it. That's what the noise is. That's why when you said, I'm not worried as much about him making all these ranting and raving lunatic things, I'd be more worried about if he was just having his head down. No, if he had his head down, then you might actually hear a bit of shit about Kash Patel and more stuff about what they're doing behind the scenes with what, Elon Musk and Doge and what they're doing here. Donald Trump's making a whole bunch of noise because it's distracting from all this other shit that goes under the radar. Yay, rain on the parade. I mean,
ugh.
do you really think that? Do you really think that anything the Democrats would have asked Kash Patel would drown out the fact that Donald Trump said we're going to take over Greenland and Gaza and Panama?
No, but I do think. But I do think that if they are consistently doing the most damage, being the most strategic to put the to penetrate the information bubble of the right everywhere that it exists, everywhere that they can. If they attack that information bubble w- with the best possible attack at every possible opportunity, they
and
will get in enough truth to peel some people off.
so
And
here's
that's the thing that they need to do.
and so here's what I think. Here's what I think they need to do. The only way to really pierce that information bubble is not to make good sound bites for social media by asking questions differently. It's
But
not even
like
that.
asking this, if she had
Hold on.
just said, "Hey,"
Yeah, it
if she'd
doesn't
done
matter.
the thing that I said,
It doesn't matter.
then it would
It
have
wouldn't make a
penetrated at
difference.
least the Asmongold media
Okay,
bubble.
well, I don't even know who Asmongold is. Anyway, but here's what I do know. What made bigger news what Democrats did when they actually went out there to the Treasury and a couple senators and they came down there and they went outside the federal buildings that they're getting locked out of by Doge, right? And they actually had big press conferences right there at the buildings. Hey, they're locking you out of this. They're stopping Head Start. They stopped payments for Head Start funding. They stopped this. They stopped this. Look at what they're doing, everybody. And then made a big noise about it to get on big normal media and make a bigger story of it, right?
Normal legacy media. That's not the
Legacy
place.
media,
That's not where the fight is, bro.
no, it still is where the fight. It's still where the majority of the fight is.
No, it's not. It's on
It
social
is.
media.
No, social media is the margins, and margins matter.
170 million Americans get their news from TikTok, bro.
They don't,
That's
okay,
170 million Americans. More people watch Joe Rogan. If you do an
you do
episode of
watch Joe Rogan, but
MSNBC, it has a viewership of like 30 to 50,000 people. If you're like Rachel Maddow at prime time, you get 30 to 50,000. An episode of Joe Rogan gets you 3 hours at like 50 million fucking people. It's not even close. This idea that like legacy media is going to be like a way to get out any sort of information to anyone who fucking matters is nonsense.
yeah. Here's the thing, though: legacy media still drives the story that other people talk about. Maybe people don't watch legacy media, but it hits legacy media first. The people on TikTok and Joe Rogan, what do they talk about? They talk about what's being talked about on legacy media. Right? I mean, it makes the big things first. Washington Post gets a story first, and then everybody starts talking about it on the podcasts, and everybody else starts talking about it, right? It still starts there. It still starts with legacy media. And what makes the news, it's not a hearing in a Senate chamber or a committee in a Senate chamber about somebody. That makes a couple little stories, but that doesn't dominate the news. Doing things, being out in public in force and showing things. That's what still matters. And it's been proven over and over and over again. That's like I was watching this with a couple other podcasts, and they were talking about that. They're like, it's really sad that right now the courts are the only place the resistance, if you want to call it that this time around, the only place there's a resistance is by people filing court things to stop Trump. Before, like when they had the family separation stuff, right? If people weren't out in force, massive rallies, massive protests and marches and things like that, that made the news. That made them stop stuff, right? That's what you need. You need big public demonstrations out there, not just asking a question a different way and some little back. What Democrats should really do, not show up. Don't even show up. Don't even go there. Don't even entertain it because the Republicans are going to vote how they're going to vote. Let them do them. Let the Republicans do everything on their own.
Oh, this I agree with.
They will have no votes to get anything done. They will have to agree
Let
on
the dog
everything too.
catch the car.
And meanwhile, what do the Democrats do? Don't sit in a fucking Senate chamber for 10 hours where you might get a soundbite on a social media clip out there. Instead, have every single Democrat outside the Senate chamber having a big press conference with bullhorns and big screen TVs and just talk about what the Republicans are doing and how they're trying to kill the country and who these awful people are.
Have all of them go on like every single podcast
Yes,
and
go on
every
everywhere. Go, all the
single.
legacy media channels can be there watching it and getting streamed. Whoa, this has never happened before. Every single Senate Democrat is outside the chamber as the Republicans are having a hearing on fucking brainworm roadkill eater to be the head of the Health and Human Services, and they're
Yeah,
all
but
out
then the
here.
Hill is going to be like, the Democrats are just abdicating their duties, and they're not even trying
What
to do their
duties?
job, and
What
they're
duties?
absent.
What duties? They can walk in there and all vote no. That's all they have to do is go in there and vote. Say, hey, yeah, they have the majority. We'll walk in there when it's time to vote. And we'll all say no. Everybody knows we're going to vote no because this person didn't qualify. What the fuck you want us to do? The guy's a fucking joke. Why entertain it? And instead, you can get all the media attention, everybody out there talking to everybody the entire day. What would be more beneficial, sitting in a Senate chamber for 10 hours or talking to everybody the entire day when you have old man Chuck Grassley out there and somebody else talk about, well, Kash Patel, I think you've gotten a bad rap. I know that you love these insurrectionists, but you're not really going to get revenge on everybody you said you would, right? No. Works for me. All right. Well, that's all I needed to hear. You know, you know what I mean? I mean, you know what I mean? They could do so much more. Don't even show up. And then when they do get their people confirmed, right? Because they're going to confirm them anyway, apparently, no matter how unqualified they are. After they get them confirmed, and they would need to do a deal, they need to have a budget deal. Don't show up. Hey, Republicans own it. Let them do it. When shit falls apart, they own it. Why bail them out? Don't bail them out. Let them do it. And then meanwhile, you can spend all of your time just going to the media, going everywhere. And yes, you can do podcasts, you can do legacy media, just spend all day long talking about how horrible they are. And then you can say, we're not obstructing shit. We're not obstructing anything. They are
You know,
going to self immolate. They are
it did
self immolating. We're not going to take part in this destruction of our democracy.
it did seem ridiculous at first when Trump was like, "I'm just gonna always be on tour, bitches. Like,
Yeah,
I just won the presidency. Tomorrow night we rally at dawn. Like every day a rally, you
let's
know."
do it. Democrats should do that. Let's go
But
out there and
like
talk to people
Democrats should do that. Democrats should just be in your town, in your
all day,
living
every
room,
day.
on your TV, on your phone, on your magazine, newspaper, at fucking Walmart shaking
Yeah.
hands. Just like, yeah, no, that would be great.
Yeah, I think that they're not going to do the oversight. Republicans already said they're not. They already shown they're not going to stand up to anything. They're going to look the other way on anything. They're going to rely on They're going to cross their fingers and hope that civil servants don't all get fired, and hope that the courts don't let the worst abuses happen. And meanwhile, they're pretty powerless to do anything about it anyway, for real. You know what I mean? They're a minority party, so just fucking do that. Go out there and call them the Trump crime family 24/7, and go on tour about how horrible they are and how they're destroying the country, and just whip people up into fear about it and hope that elections matter in the future.
So, perfect segue into the new DNC chair, Ken Martin. Do you think this is what he's going to do? What do you think his deal is? What do you think
No,
about this
I
guy?
sadly don't. I mean, I do think that. I mean, Ken Martin has said, they want to build a bigger party, go out into rural places, talk to people,
He was saying they should be campaigning year round.
yeah,
He was
campaigning year
saying that they
round.
should be speaking to and voting to the interests of people in labor and not big party donors.
Yeah, that's true too. You know, I like him. I like the guy.
I mean, I heard
Um,
that he called 200 of the voters and it did 2-hour conversations with each of them.
hmm
Like that's 10 full-time weeks or 5 80-hour weeks of like, just like pressing the flesh.
yeah, yeah. And so that is what they need, and they need people. It's true. Like he was talking about how people feel so disconnected from politics, and it's totally true. And like I was saying this earlier today, we're talking about like all the people who you know my child again was asking. He's like, why did so many people not vote? Why did so many people not vote, or why don't they care? Right? I'm like, a lot of people, they just know that their lives have sucked for a long time. Man, my life has sucked for 15, 20 years. I've never really gotten ahead. I've always struggled. I've been struggling for 15 years. I'm going to struggle the next 5 years. I struggled when a Democrat was president. I struggled when a Republican was president. I'm working all damn day, and my life hasn't gotten any better. So I don't give a shit, and I don't vote. Boom. That's what they think, and a lot of people think that way, right? And so they're disconnected from politics. As a result, they don't watch the news at all. And in some ways, it's kind of true. In some ways, depending on where you live, if you turned off all social media and you turned off all the televisions and you didn't look at a newspaper, you just went to work and nobody talked about the events of the day, right? Would you notice a difference from 8 years ago and yesterday?
If you worked in construction, you probably would. If you
You think
owned
so?
a produce farm, you would.
You think so? On the normal day to day of just doing the job?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned those places specifically because like immigrants are getting deported and they're mostly picking these deadbeats who are just criminals. They're picking them up at work.
Yeah, in some places, but not everywhere. I mean, obviously, like
So, but
if you
to
live
your
in
point,
Indiana, but yeah, a lot of people, for a
I'm
lot
just
of
being
people,
contrary to the
but yeah,
vast majority of your point. Yes, most
yeah,
people
most
wouldn't
people would
know.
never know
Lots
the
of
difference.
people wouldn't know.
They wouldn't pay.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. They're just gonna. They don't think it cares. They don't think anything matters. They disconnect. They disengage. They don't pay attention to what's going on. They don't know what's going on. They don't know how politics affects them. So that is why the Democratic Party needs to go out there and do organizing. Actually, talk to people who have checked out of politics and let them know, what does the government actually do for you? Did you know it was this? So pissed off that Biden didn't shove it down everybody's throats 24/7 every time we got fiber or we got a bridge or we got something like that. It's like, hey, I live out in a place with population 2,000. You know what I mean? Fiber
Hmm.
internet was never going to come to this community. It wasn't because a couple hundred people were really hoping we'd get good internet. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that. We didn't get all the stuff here because of that. We got it because Biden. You know what I mean? Nobody knows that shit. This area is so Republican. They have no clue that the reason the bridge, a couple miles away got fixed is because of Biden. They
Did
have
they?
no clue.
So they. I saw a bunch of things around here
hmm
where it would be like it's like a bridge, like this bridge is being rebuilt, and it would be like this is because of Biden and the Infrastructure Act of blah blah blah,
hmm
and there would be like I saw a whole bunch of those things where like it says on the sign like this is happening because of Biden.
hmm
So like they weren't
Proclaiming
doing
it
something
loud.
similar. in your area? Like they didn't put up a sign that said like "Brought to you by Biden."
No, I live no, no. I live in a red area. They probably
They
wouldn't
would
have
have
allowed
burned
that.
the
But
bridge.
maybe. Uh, but yeah, I mean, but either way, I mean, Democrats should have been out there. They shouldn't have been a sign. It shouldn't be a sign that nobody pays attention to. It should have been the local Democratic Party out there with bullhorns and a local paper and talking to people and going to the school. Hey guys, tell your parents, blah blah blah. You know, what I mean, it should have been anything. It should have been
It should be AOC and Chris Murphy on tour with Rage Against the Machine and Chance the Rapper, just like doing a pre-show, 15 minutes of blah blah
yeah.
blah. Out there with Taylor Swift, like let me tell you about why your vote matters.
Mm-hmm.
This is what Biden did for you. Blah blah. Blah. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally agree. That should be the strategy. Full court press.
Yeah. Full court press. Every time they did
Just
it, did.
talk to people every day for 2 years and see what happens
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the time.
And like that's why JB Pritzker was talking to me. He was so pissed at that press conference I was talking about. You know, there's a lot of little things that people never realized. Elon Musk and them didn't realize when they shut the shit off for a day. You know what I mean? There's so much stuff that they're like, oh yeah, just cut that shit, cut that shit. Oh, that's still spinning. Just cut that shit off, turn that shit off, and all of a sudden, people realize, holy shit, meals. What this happened? What what the school? This happened? This funding, what? And then people realize, oh shit, that's the federal government pays for that. Wow, they don't know. People don't know what they don't know. You know, and
Yep,
so people don't
it's
know what they
Dunning
don't know,
Kruger
man.
effect.
Yeah, they don't know what they don't know. And
They
if
don't know what they
they
don't know.
knew, if like the thing, but people think, oh, I pay my taxes, I'm gonna get shit for it, you know. And yes, I mean, like, oh Jesus, you know, like when they were talking about, who was it? Oh God, was it Com? No, who was it that? Oh God, years ago when the election, they're like, or was it Obama and them? When they were talking
Help
about
me
like,
help you,
you
bro. Give
didn't
me something to go
when they're
off.
talking about like
What
you
are you
didn't
reaching
build it,
for?
like if you own a business and blah 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 blah, you didn't do that by yourself. I think it was Obama actually talked about you didn't just do that yourself. You had the roads, you had this, you had this. You didn't just make the business out of thin air. Taxes paid for the roads that paid for the things that get people to your business.
The
You had other
socialism,
infrastructure.
yeah, like the schools that educated your
Yeah,
workers for
but
free.
there's so much stuff that the federal government provides that nobody realizes the federal government. And it's easy, oh, the government doesn't do shit right. But if they knew all the shit that the government does do right, you know, and
As
they
soon
knew
as they do it
how it
wrong, they
affects
know.
them, yeah, they only pay attention when shit goes wrong, you know? They only know when stuff goes wrong.
That's your
And
point, man. Just let the Republicans fuck it all up.
yeah, let them do it all, man, and let them bomb out. Now, the problem with that strategy is yes, they will destroy a whole bunch of shit. And a lot of people make the argument, hey, if you want to be a good opposition party, you have to try to salvage what you can and save things from being totally destroyed. Because are you really doing the people's work if you're not trying every little parliamentary tactic and slowing things down and acting like you're negotiating something when you're really going to be Joe Manchin and just tying it up for a year and a half? You know what I mean? I mean, that
Yeah, but
also has its
you could
place.
do both. You
Yeah, you
could do
can.
both.
But the Democrats need to, they need to do both. But it's going to be rough, man. I don't know, man.
I love this strategy. I think that's the perfect way to get around the like information bubbles is just like be like, "Hey, I'm going to be in your town on Thursday."
And if you,
Like
yeah,
roll up, say hi.
if you think about it, when they're talking about the press now, you know, like they're talking about Joe Scarborough and Mika, and actually, like after Trump won, they like went down to Mar-a-Lago and they started being a little nicer to him, right? Because they're going to get access. And talk about access journalism. So what all the media companies, all the legacy media companies, what they're all doing is they're trying to suck up to Trump a little bit to get access, so they can still be in the press room and they can still do these things. And so the Bear Know media is a sucker for access. Give them access 24/7. You know, hey, you can be right here on the front lawn of, you know, the White House where all the Democrats are going to have their press conference right outside the Rose,
Yeah, like
outside the White House. You know,
AOC is going on tour with Taylor Swift, and she's got
something.
the Washington Post has got a ride along, embedded reporter just with her every day, 24/7, constantly blogging about it. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I just thought this popped in my head, but that's actually not a bad place to have a presser. Have all the Senate Democrats walk out and go to the White House right outside the grounds there, you know, and invite all the media for the show. You know what I mean? Why not?
Yeah,
That's as good a venue as any, right? Right on
yep.
his doorstep. Right on his doorstep.
Just do a democracy tour,
Yeah.
upstage his rallies. Put a fucking have a rally with like whoever, whatever music star you can get to come. Get Killer Mike to play, and then Chris Murphy and Jamie Raskin to talk.
Yeah.
Like the same day as the Donald Trump rally. Just steal his audience.
And honestly, here, if you had, say you had, I don't know, let's say 40 senators and 150 House members call every news outlet in America, right? And invite all their constituents to come to a march, then maybe they march to the White House. That might make news.
Yeah,
And then
probably
maybe
make some
just
news.
maybe you I don't know, have a sit-in at the White House outside, right outside, surround the entire place outside, you know, and just sit there and have all the news cameras and everybody else out there and all your people. I mean, shit.
Better bring your gas masks
If
for
you're on an
that one.
enemies list anyway, if you're on an
You know what
enemies list
Trump
anyway,
does.
yeah, but you're on an enemies list anyway. Hey, flex a little bit, man. Let's see if they're willing to do it on national TV with every news outlet watching, with all of you there and a bunch of people watching and all the cameras rolling, man. Is it going to become a dictatorship, or, why not get some news? Do something big. Make people see that you're out there, not
Bro,
just
why didn't
here.
you run for DNC chair? Shit.
I don't know.
I
Well,
like I like all of it. I like the whole thing.
but that is one thing that actually that guy Ken Martin said, or yeah, Ken Martin. He's like, people need to see it. It's got to be more concrete. We're past the point of being able to earn people's votes based on the status quo or just hope. He says people need to see that you're doing things, be out there publicly demonstrating that you're doing things. And they wanted to be doing that. Be out there in the face, man. I mean, civil rights didn't happen because people had hearings and convinced people in the courts that equality was a good thing. They did it because they went to the streets and protested and got on TV and talked all the time and had marches. And that's what you got to do, man. That's what you
Got
got
to
to do.
press out to the bridge in Selma to see the violence. I
Yeah.
think that like in 2016, Trump didn't just kill the Republican Party. Like he didn't just like take them. Everyone who was Republican Classic is like been ousted from the party. Everyone who's not willing to kiss the ring is out one way or another, right? And the entire way that they do politics is just like who can be the bigger sycophant. That's the whole game now. But I don't think he just killed the Republican Party. He killed the Democratic Party also. Like there can be no more of this business as usual. It's reinvent or remain dead. Like because they're already dead. This election like showed us anything. It's that they're dead. Like a party that's like we're gonna stick with the zombie, and then like oh yeah okay fine you're right he is a zombie though. So how about like I don't know his protege who no one wanted uh, a few years ago? Get excited! Like this is not like good strategy from like a successful, powerful party. You know, like this is not the strategery we need.
Yeah, I don't know. I
So
don't know.
like, but a Democratic Party that's like in the streets and like knows your mom's name and why she's in the hospital,
Yeah.
like that's a whole different animal. You know, your
Mm-hmm.
representative on tour, your representative hanging out at the library, inviting you to come down and like, ask questions and check out a few books. Like that shit is powerful.
Yeah. But yeah. Yeah, they would say all politics is local.
I mean that's the way you cut through. Like, I mean, like, yeah, no algorithm is there in person.
Yeah,
Like
that's true.
that's the thing with in person. Like, even like I don't know if you saw this, but like Bill Maher has like a podcast called Club Random,
Mm-hmm.
and he recently had Matt Gaetz on. And he's talked so much shit about Matt Gaetz, and he gets him in the room, and Matt Gaetz is talking to him about this and that and stuff, and he's just like, he was being really candid, and he sounds really sane, and he's like, "You're not at all what I thought you were. Like, I thought you were this like smarmy little asshole." And he's like, "Well, no, like I didn't take money from these people. I was self-funded, and I pissed a lot of people off because I didn't agree with this and that, and I was for these things and this, and blah blah blah. And like, there's a difference between sex for money and sex and money, and just on and on and on and on." And like, even somebody who you like have this like shit opinion of, or like when people meet Trump, even they say that he's actually really charming, that he does the work of like making you feel seen and making you feel important and making you feel like he's interested in you. Like, it's one thing to be like the horrible Chuck Schumer. It's another thing to like shake his hand and like listen to him talk for 40 minutes and like have him listen to you, like, and then you go and tell people about the experience that you had. And
Mm-hmm.
if he does it like, you know, 20 times a year, a lot of people are going to go and have that experience and then run and tell about it.
Yeah.
That could be the
Although,
kind of reinvention that we need. That sounds amazing, honestly.
pretty interesting though. I have a just out there when you're talking about social media and everything else, And I was just wondering about this when we're talking about politics being local and social media and who's following stuff and younger and older. There's actually pretty good Pew Research actually did a big study here, right? And look at age brackets: 18 to 29, 30 to 49, 50 to 64, and 65 and above, right? They segmented in those four different age brackets. And they're looking at every social media platform and what percentage of people use it in those different age brackets, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty good. I mean, I wish I could have sorted it. It's on the it's on their site here where they have it like percentage of views that use it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, oh, overwhelmingly majority use Facebook. 68% of people 18 to 29, 78% people 30 to 49, 70% of people 50 to 64, and 59% of people over 65, right?
I'm shocked. I would have thought the younger age groups would have used it much. Like, do they use it for Facebook Marketplace and Messenger, or they mean
68% is Facebook. No, they separate Instagram. Instagram is separate, even though if it's, same
what about
company.
Marketplace and Messenger?
They don't mention that. They just put Facebook. They had Facebook and
Okay.
Instagram. So I'm
Okay.
guessing
Okay.
Messenger is Facebook. And like they have Instagram, 76% of 18 to 29, 66% 30 to 49, 36, huge drop off, 50 to 64, and 19% 65 older. It's definitely the younger people, right?
Okay, that one makes more sense. That's
Yeah.
more what I would have expected.
YouTube, obviously, number one. 93% 18 to 29, 94% 30 to 49, 86% 50 to 64, 65% of people 65 and older.
Dude,
But
YouTube
again,
gets more viewership than like
anything.
the
Yeah, because
the
it's
rest of
everything.
the
Right.
video.
And
Yeah.
YouTube has an algorithm, man. It doesn't usually just show you rando stuff. It shows you stuff like based on what you
Yeah.
watch. You know what
No,
I mean?
for sure they all do, for
They
sure.
all do,
I
but
think I think YouTube is
well, X.
more what you're interested in than stuff that's going to make you angry and be contentious.
Yeah, but I mean like X, Twitter.
X's algorithm is like, would you like to see what Elon wants you to know today?
Oh, you
We
looked
have a
up
website for that.
Yeah. Oh, you looked up SpongeBob SquarePants? Here's Charlie Kirk. Oh, you want to see what Nelson Mandela said? Donald Trump is like Nelson Mandela. You know. Yeah. So anyway.
here's here's Donald Trump talking about Nelson Mandela's cock.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. And then that one's in the ground, man. 38% of people 18 to 29, 25% of people 30 to 49, 15% of people 50 to 64, 8% 65 and older, right? It's down there like with Snapchat, Reddit, Be Real, almost numbers. You know what I mean? So, I mean, social media, but
I mean, that's a success story for Be Real, but
no, Be Real's smaller. Snapchat's
Snapchat's
huge for the young.
huge.
Yeah, but
Snapchat's huge. Reddit's
only,
also huge. Reddit just
only if
had a
you're
big
young.
IPO.
Only if you're young, man. Like Snapchat, 65% 18 to 29, down to 32% for 30 to 49.
Yeah, no, it's just kids. Like
Or it's just
my
young
son
people.
uses
And
uses
Reddit's the
Snapchat
same thing.
constantly.
46% of people 18 to 29, down to 35 for 30 to 49-year-olds, and then it's like down to nothing. 11% for people over 50, 4% over 65. You know what I mean?
Reddit is probably the best though. Like Reddit is probably the best social media that we have
Well, I don't know. Either
because
way, all I'm saying is
it's
this.
user. It's like it's engagement
That's social media stuff.
surfaced,
So
not.
But either way,
algorithmically surfaced.
the point is though, right? The highest numbers. I mean, you have say like Facebook, Instagram, and Instagram really isn't political stuff, man. I mean, some people talk on Instagram, but not usually. It's not.
Chris
Insta-
Murphy's out there on Instagram.
yeah, people
Senator
do
Warren,
stuff.
Bernie Sanders, AOC.
Or,
I see him all the time.
yeah, they do their clips and stuff like that. And they post it out there. But what I'm saying is this: there's a few little niche things here, right? But what they don't poll, what they don't look at and survey is how many of these people still watch legacy media, right?
Mm.
That's social media. Yes,
Nielsen does that though.
yeah, but just because 65% of young people look at Snapchat and okay, 30% of people look at Facebook doesn't mean that they're actually consuming most of their news on those platforms. And just because somebody watches Joe Rogan doesn't mean they don't watch the 6 o'clock news. You know what I mean?
Bro, no one watches the 6 o'clock news because no one has
Plenty
the
of people do.
fucking news.
There's everything. There's local channels, digital things. You can watch it on the streaming services. If you're watching the streaming services, you have live news and you have CBS. I don't even have satellite or cable anymore, and I can still watch NBC and CBS and ABC News on there.
Where
It's
do
just
you watch?
streaming.
Where do you watch those?
You just
On the website?
just hit the home button and watch TV, and they're on there. It's like one of the free things. You can just watch them.
I don't know. My TV doesn't do that.
It
I
does.
don't have
It's a smart
CBS.
TV. I guarantee you it does it. You just don't look at it. I
I
guarantee
don't
you.
have a thing telling me about
You don't have a live
CBS.
TV setting? A live TV streaming app?
No, no.
What kind of TV do you have?
I have a Sony.
Inquiring minds want to know. Okay, Sony, what model?
Bro, I gotta go like turn this thing around and like look at. I don't know.
Like,
It's decent.
is it
It's
a is it
4K.
is it a Fire TV or like a Roku TV or what?
No, it's a Google. Google does the stuff for
Okay,
Sony
it's a Google
TVs.
TV. All right, so Google TV. It's a Google TV. I guarantee
It
you.
has like all the streaming apps, but I don't have any like live. I don't have a live TV thing. I'll tell you
Stream.
what. On my remote, there's a button for TV. That button goes to a channel,
Yeah,
and I just set that channel to like the HDMI for gaming.
well,
If I got like
it's
if
an
I got
ad.
like an antenna and put it on there, I could probably. But no, I don't have it. I mean,
Oh,
maybe
live TV
I'm not saying
sports.
it can't do it, but I don't have it. It's not like obvious for me.
Oh
And
wow.
I don't. I just like just to go
Anyway,
back slightly more towards the topic. I don't think that. I think that like a lot of people, like millennials and younger, are
mhm,
not looking at legacy TV. Like we all saw the cable bills rising up and like the
yeah,
price of Netflix and the offerings of Netflix being so much better and like YouTube being more interesting. And we were just like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good, Comcast. Go fuck yourself. Like, I don't pay you $300 a month so I can have 47 channels of shit that I can't even choose what to watch when I want. Like, I gotta, you do, and then there's commercials on top of it, just like, LOL, fuck yourself. Like, those media companies are dying. They're switching to streaming or they're dying.
that's the younger people. Yeah, I'm gonna look at that though.
But like the reach of like a TV show, like a primetime news TV show, like a 6 o'clock news or like a Rachel Maddow on MSNBC. Like again, it's like it's less than 100,000 people a night. Of a big podcast is
You're talking about
tens of
100,000 night.
millions of
No,
people.
that's not true. 100,000. No, I mean the media, like the Rachel Maddow, MSNBC, stuff like that. Their numbers dropped in the wake of like the Trump, election, big time. But it's been coming back, and it's still in the millions. I mean, we talk about 100,000. No, it's still in the millions watching.
Millions?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know. I heard some different. I'm surprised. Where are you seeing millions?
Let's see here. I'll go here. As of January 4th, here we go. While Fox News, MSNBC, and CNN did see a rise in ratings, the latter two networks saw the biggest post-election drop-offs as politics-weary viewers have tuned out. Here
I
we go. Fox
Google
News.
legacy media TV viewership
Yeah,
numbers and I see like free falling media's grim prospects,
here you go.
pride and
MSNBC.
expectation, the death of legacy news.
Yeah, MSNBC averages 1.22 million a night right now. This is yeah, in a total day. Fox News averages 1.46 million a day, followed by MSNBC, and the day 791,000, 480,000. Yeah, it's in the millions. I mean, it's still in the
Okay, but
millions.
Joe Rogan has 19 million subscribers and 5.79 billion total views.
So that doesn't mean anything. It
What do you
doesn't
mean
mean,
it doesn't mean anything?
dude. All right. Disclaimer, everybody. I have subscribed to this YouTube channel on 2 different accounts, and you know what? I've only watched an episode and a half, but Julian has contributed to at least 4 or 5 views of it. Bots subscribe all the time. Bot farms subscribe. Bot farms oftentimes subscribe. And then they take little clips or something and they'll spread stuff out there, especially with Joe Rogan. God, those bot farms spread Joe Rogan clips like fucking herpes. You know
Yeah,
what
Joe Rogan gets like
I mean?
14. Like I googled. I'm just looking at some random picture, but it shows on Spotify shares podcast follower count. Joe Rogan Experience 14.5. TED Talks Daily 5 million. Caller Daddy 3.7 million. Crime Junkie 3.3 million. Oh, you know what? Just to go off topic for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
in an earlier episode, I can't remember if it was one of the ones we recorded or not, but we were complaining about how Kamala Harris didn't do Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Well, I heard that Kamala Harris had a deal to do Joe Rogan.
Oh, really?
Yes, and that Elon Musk got Joe Rogan to
Not do it?
cancel it the day before.
Oh, look at that. Wow.
Yeah. So she
Wow.
did try to go on Joe Rogan, and it was no questions off the table, 3 hours. And Elon Musk squashed it.
Oh,
So
by the way,
so
Joe
yeah.
Rogan, Joe Rogan, at least reading here, bot farm. There's Russian bot farms that apparently were also subscribing and tweeting out Joe Rogan clips, and apparently, reading here,
You know,
trying to
it's,
find
it's
the source.
disappointing. It's really disappointing about Kamala. Just like, Kamala is like the best candidate in the wrong time. Like, if you wanted to have like, if you were in like 2004 and you were like, what would be the most like rock star female candidate possible? It's Kamala Harris. Like, she's mixed race, she's like tough on crime, but like still progressive. Like, she's like such a package. She's positive, she's fantastic,
She
she's
was,
like super smart, crushes a fucking debate,
and
appeals.
she was, and, and this is going to sound very sexist. Liberals aren't, and she was smoking hot. She was. I still think she was attractive
I think she's
anyway when she
attractive.
was
I
older,
wouldn't say smoking hot, but
but
she's very
younger.
attractive.
When she was younger, that's when, remember, like when
Oh, she
Barack
was
Obama got in trouble when
dating
she was younger.
Montel Williams.
Well, no, remember when Barack Obama was the first president, and he first like saw her, or something like that. There was something about, like, he said something about her being hot. Remember, that was like almost a scandal.
I don't remember that at all, but
Yeah,
I believe you.
yeah,
But anyways, she would have been like she is like the whole package for like what politics was, you know, before Donald Trump.
yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know.
We
Uh,
gotta live. We gotta live in reality,
I just
and
wish we would have had Hillary.
not having a primary is just like a dumb fuck move.
Man. Oh yeah, there was. Obama said that she was the best looking attorney general in the country. That's when he was president.
I'm sure Michelle loves that.
It was 11 years ago.
Well,
11 years ago, it was in the news. Nora O'Donnell was talking about how he said she was the best looking attorney general.
when you're right, you're right. Okay, I'm gonna like bring us towards
All right.
towards an end point with a rant.
All right.
Um, okay, I'm gonna explain why I think you should expect the worst from the government. A rant. Okay.
Yeah, I expect it.
Mo Gaudat wrote a great book called The Happiness Equation. Something like that. I don't know if that's the exact name. I think it's it. Something like that. The Happiness Equation. In it, he boils down happiness to this simple equation. Happiness is when expectation matches reality. The more, your expectations aren't met by reality, the more unhappy you are. So to balance yourself, expect the worst. Expect it from every system that protects you, from the government, from the Democrats, from the Republicans, definitely from the president, but also from your community, from your job. On that cheery note, I predict concentration camps. we'll call them detention centers. I predict family sundering, mass deportation, crying children. I predict the grannies and good neighbors, the good hombres who are brown immigrants, will be deported. I predict the deportations to be much more expensive and cruel than they could be. I think American citizens will end up in the detention centers, first criminals, then other vulnerable people like trans LGBTQ, then protesters, then dissidents, then political opponents. I think this is a 2-year timeline. Like, this is coming soon, coming fast. I predict a lot of Palestinians to die as a result of being forced to move to a dozen or so towns spread across the Middle East, and for Gaza to become the 51st state or another Puerto Rico with a big American military presence and massive dumps of taxpayer money into sketchy construction projects and other private equity. I predict that gas prices will go up, inflation will go up, egg prices will go up, bird flu will spread to humans and get worse.
It already has.
Tulsi and RFK will get in. Tulsi will give Russia secrets. Our allies will stop giving us intel, and this will be used as a pretext to abandon NATO. I predict Trump will give Putin Ukraine overtly or simply by inaction or by using peace as a cover for something Trump Tower Gaza-esque. The beatings will continue until we go full Gilead. Project 2025 President Kevin Roberts said this is a coup that will remain bloodless as long as the left allows it, and he meant it. It's accurate. Act accordingly. Don't be disappointed when Tulsi gets in. Don't be disappointed when FK gets in. Don't be disappointed when we have a vaccine for the bird flu after it's fucking murdering people worse than COVID, and taking the vaccine isn't mandated, and mask mandates aren't allowed.
Or punished.
Don't be surprised. Yeah, or punished.
Punished for wearing a mask in Indiana. Yeah.
Like, don't be surprised. Expect this. So, like, and here's the benefit of this. If you expect all this horrible shit to happen, if it doesn't, that's a win. That's like, oh, wow, okay, I won a little small lottery. I've just won. How nice. How nice. Like, this is the way that you survive in this sort of timeline. You got to set the bar is in hell. Put the bar on the floor and then dig a hole and shove it down. Like, this is the way, in my opinion. So that's my advice to you, dear listener.
Yeah.
Any
And
closing thoughts, James?
my closing thoughts are this: as a friend of ours, a former colleague, and his wife, a widow, I guess you'd say, right, shared a little thing on Facebook and alluded to a story here that I actually read on history.com. Go to history.com. A story called "How the Nazis Were Inspired by Jim Crow." It's actually a really good read because people always talk about comparing Trump to Nazis and Germans, and it's such a horrible analogy. And God, that's why do you do the Nazi analogy? Well, the thing is, the Nazis didn't come up with this shit. They actually sent people to the U.S. and they studied the U.S. laws. They studied American history to come up with their model. Like they said America in the earliest 20th century was the leading racist jurisdiction in the world, right? So the Nazi lawyers were very interested in looking at American race law, right, to get inspired. Said one of the most striking views Nazis had is that it was a suitable racist program in the United States because American blacks were already oppressed and poor. But in Germany, the Jews were rich and powerful. They had to take more serious measures. But so they looked at how the U.S. had come up with these things, and they looked at how the laws in America worked and what got them there. And they just simply said, all right, these things work, and we just have to take a little farther here and here and here, right? So when people look at Trump and the Republicans, they talk about they're like fascists, they're like the Nazis. It's not a radical jump because don't compare it to the Nazis. Compare it to Jim Crow. That's where the Nazis got this shit from, right? That's where they studied to learn on what works and what doesn't work. They took all American things. They looked at banning interracial marriages and banning these things and doing all these little things to separate people, migrants, bad, the quote Pocahontas exceptions, they all these laws they did, right? And they started adopting very similar rules over there in Germany, right? I think this party and centralizing their power. Remember, Trump said Hitler had some really good ideas, and
Great
it was,
generals.
and the Elon salute was not an accident. You know, it's very telling how they want to centralize their power, and they have playbooks, established playbooks from the U.S. history, from other countries' history, right? And starts with centralizing power. Check, you're doing it. Trying to, make the opposition, like weak, feeble, not actually do anything. Check. There's no big party. I see a really dystopian future. I agree with most of what Gabe said. Only exception is actually Ukraine. I am cautiously optimistic still because I think we might flex a little bit of muscle, right? To just say, hey, Russia, nope, you can only have 20% of Ukraine. You have to stop there because we're getting the precious metals now. I think we're going to extort a lot of precious metals from Ukraine, which in itself isn't a totally horrible thing they're talking about. It does. There's a new plan, another plan.
The precious metals are in the occupied territory, though.
Not all of it. No, there's plenty in the Donbass that's not just in the occupied territories. But either way, I think Trump wants a piece of that action. You got to give a cut to the mob boss, man. He wants a piece of that. He needs his cut, right? You
Mm-hmm.
want the protection, you got to give us the cut. I mean, Jesus, that's what he's threatening NATO countries, remember?
Yeah.
Hey, you're willing to pay us. They're willing to pay us.
I mean, it is in the agreement that you spend 2.2% of GDP on defense, and like none of them do it.
All of them but
So,
two countries do it now. Everybody but Canada and one other country. Everybody's above that threshold, and they're way above us. 4 countries or 5 countries are spending a bigger percentage of GDP than America now. So yeah, relook at those numbers.
oh, well, I guess that was effective.
Well, no, it was Russia did it. When Russia invaded Ukraine, that's what did it. It wasn't Trump. It was Russia made them start spending the money. Anyway, but yeah, I could see him making a deal where we get a lot of stuff out of them and kind of hold that over their head forever. Oh, you want that peace deal? Hey, keep that selenium coming, keep this coming, keep this coming, and doing
Mm,
that. That sounds very mob bossish too, right? Oh, good country got there. Shame if the Russians took it. You know what I mean? that
I see.
sounds yeah, it sounds like him. So I still
That does
think
sound like him.
I think that sounds like him. I mean, shit. The last time, remember, the military package. Hey, but I would like if you do me a favor. How did he word it to Zelensky the first time around? You know, whatever. Yeah, I can see him extorting a lot of extortion. You know, I don't think they'll totally fall. Plus, I don't think. I mean, I don't know. It's in it for the money, man. It's follow the money. If money's going into Trump's pocket, if they're willing to put a lot of money in his pocket, I think they might be all right.
Buy some of that meme coin.
Wouldn't be surprised. I
It's
wouldn't be
it's it's
surprised.
down
In
again.
fact,
Buy
I
some
would.
so you can get
Yeah, I
paid with
wouldn't
the
be
president.
surprised if maybe some programs, get funded to Ukraine to get funded to buy his meme coin. You know.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know. We'll see. I'm not looking forward to the next 4 years, 2 years, whatever.
Me either.
But anyway, it is 8:11 p.m. our time where we're recording,
It
and
it is. It is.
and I really got to answer this call and wrap this up.
All
So
right. On that note, well,
okay,
stay sane. Have a
yep.
good one.
Good night, everybody. All right,
Oh, brother.
all right. Oh, brother, for real. Okay.